Blocks 61-64 are some of the most desirable places to live in Belgrade. Thanks to their generous green spaces, it feels like living in the park. Even in the hottest summer days, shady green courtyards are real oases for the residents, a direct extension of their homes. Meanwhile, the green areas in the middle of the boulevard are far less inviting. These spaces are neglected, underused, and at risk of becoming the next target for real estate development. Their courtyards are cut abruptly by the asphalted streets, their alleys end at parking spots, forcing people to squeeze between cars to continue on their way. Additionally, green patches with dried-out grass and no direct pedestrian connections create further barriers between the boulevard and the courtyards. This is evident from the improvised paths across the grass. Commercial establishments add to this separation, often turning their backs to the courtyards and facing the street, completely ignoring the green spaces. To make matters worse, large shopping malls cover entire sections of the boulevard, turning some areas into a sea of asphalt. But how did we end up with such a monumental open space getting occupied by chaotic development? Construction of New Belgrade began in 1948. Built on marshes and reclaimed land, the new capital of the Yugoslav peoples was designed to be a city of light, sun, and future. The housing campaign had a central role in the political discourse. Belgrade's population grew from 300,000 in 1940 to over 700,000 in 1966, and the equal access to housing for everybody was an irrenounceable precondition of brotherly well-being. The basic administrative unit of New Belgrade is the block. Each block was designed differently, its design being decided through competition. Blocks 61-64 were built from 1973 to 1979, in the place of the village Bijanja, its agricultural lands and the old irrigation channel Galovica. In 1965, Josip Svoboda designed an urban plan with long-stepped residential buildings that aimed to reinterpret Bijanja's urban structure. Starting from this plan, Mileni and Darko Marušić designed the buildings employing industrialized prefabricated systems. The design of the open spaces followed the principles of separating mobility flows. The ground level was dedicated to car traffic, while pedestrian pathways were elevated to the first floor with bridges linking the residential buildings with public facilities. These bridges were intended to cross the boulevard and connect a community center planned in the middle, but this was never realized. As a result, the boulevard remained empty and the pedestrian paths are disconnected. Starting from the 90s, the boulevard was gradually taken over by commercial activities. Initially, they began to pop up on the green strips along the sides of the boulevard, separating it from the courtyards. Then, larger structures started to occupy entire sections in the center. Additionally, as the number of cars per inhabitant grew, hundreds of hectares of green space were converted into parking lots. While these services filled the void left by socialist planning, chaotic construction fragmented what could have been a continuous collective space. Between privatization and neglect, the boulevard is at risk of completely losing its role for the neighborhood. What could we do to invert this trend? We started out with reasoning, understanding the point of view of the residents. We published posts on social media of the groups of blocks 61, 62, and 63, which received more than 120 answers. While the residents identified the lack of public facilities in the blocks, almost everybody agreed that the central boulevard should be left untouched and get reconnected to the courtyards. Starting from the poll results, we developed a strategy to reconnect the boulevard with the courtyards, giving clear priority to spaces for people and biodiversity over spaces for cars. New pathways across parking lots, green strips and commercial areas will once again make it possible to walk smoothly from one side of the block to the other. A light intervention can complete what was left unfinished and be the first step in the renaturalization of the boulevard. The proposal focuses on the transition spaces between the boulevard and the courtyards. By working with paving surfaces and landscape elements, we could envision pedestrians having again priority over cars. Structures for collective uses and services could integrate in this new landscape and take advantage of the increased accessibility. Shady green paths could significantly enhance the safety and comfort of the outdoor space, particularly for the children, the elderly, and those with reduced mobility. To bring our vision to life with the residents, we organized a performance. We published an invitation on the social media groups of the blocks, inviting everyone to gather on Sunday, June the 9th, 2024. The initiative received invaluable support from local associations dedicated to protecting the boulevard. These associations, along with some residents, helped to spread the word and organize the event. First, we shared our vision, then we crossed the boulevard together, following one of the paths we had imagined. Walking through the space together, participants felt a closer connection to the boulevard. After the performance, we had a precious moment of exchange, when residents shared their stories and ideas. We learned about an old man who had personally planted the garden we walked through, and about the projects to revive the Galovica Channel, transforming the boulevard into a system of lakes. We invited residents to draw with colored pencils on a plan of the boulevard, discussing possible future scenarios. This was a first step on a journey to reclaim the space for the people, a journey that promises to bring the boulevard back to its community.